from China.
Chair recognizes Mr. LaTurner from Kansas for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you both for being here today. There's a lot of information. Let's try to quickly lay this out for the American people, okay? So quick answers. How long have each of you worked for the IRS? Mr. Shapley, you first.
14 years.
13 years.
Is it fair to say that you both have had successful careers at the IRS? You've both been recognized for your achievement there?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are either of you overly partisan people?
I am not, no.
Yeah, I've made an effort to not be overly, I've made an effort to be partisan. I apologize.
Do either of you have a burning desire, or have you ever, to be a spectacle at a congressional hearing? Are you wanting to be on TV? Are you looking for your 15 minutes of fame here?
I would prefer not to be here.
Yeah, I'd never imagined that this would happen, but here I am.
Then quickly, for the American people, why did you step forward?
Because we need the equal application of justice, and we hear all these stories about these crimes that are committed that are horrible. But without the equal application of justice, I don't understand how we move forward, and I don't understand how I meet my oath of office if I don't do what I can to ensure that occurs. There are 300 million taxpayers out there that they think that this hearing is a big deal because they're paying their taxes and they see someone who isn't.
And Mr. Ziegler?
So it's a matter of accountability. So it's twofold. The matter of accountability. We need to hold those accountable who basically for the last 5 years hasn't been following proper procedure. And the second part of this is that I think we need to have some reform or something that's built in there that this doesn't happen to people, again, investigators.
Let's get the facts out. The Biden family and their associates received millions in global payments from companies linked to Ukraine, Romania, and China, funneled through various shell companies. Mr. Ziegler, is that correct?
That is correct. It's 17.3 million.
Quickly, Mr. Shapley, what is a special agent report?
It's the report that recommends prosecution for various charges, each of which have been proven, each element.
Approximately how many of these over your career have you been a part of or have you prepared? Guess.
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Did you complete a special agent report for the Hunter Biden case?
Special Agent Ziegler authored that report.
I completed that report.
And when this special report was sent up the chain of command, just like you all have been involved with, in your case, Mr. Shapley, hundreds of times, did you notice anything outside of the normal process that you have grown used to over the years?
So the changing at criminal tax attorneys was definitely inappropriate and out of the norm. But no, after that, the senior leadership quickly trumped CT Council, and they concurred with the charges, so we sent it forward to the Department of Justice Tax Division for further approval.
And Mr. Ziegler?
Everything that he just said was correct.
Now, Mr. Shapley, you recommended felony charges in this special agent report, and we all know the answer, but was Hunter Biden ultimately charged with those felonies?
No, he was not.
Mr. Ziegler, what role did Leslie Wolf play in the investigation?
So she was an assistant United States attorney out of the District of Delaware assigned to the investigation.
You met with her and her team during the Hunter Biden case, correct?
That is correct.
In your testimony to Ways and Means, you described Assistant U.S. Attorney Leslie Wolf, who was once again overseeing the case out of Delaware, as saying during a meeting that she did not want to ask about the big guy and stated she didn't want to ask questions about Dad. Is that statement accurate? And I want to remind you that you're under oath. Is that accurate, your testimony to Ways and Means?
Can you ask that question one more time so I can?
She said, Leslie Wolf said, during a meeting that she did not want to ask about the big guy and stated she didn't want to ask questions about Dad.
So there's twofold to that. There's that line in the email that said 10 held by H for the big guy. That was something that came up as a part of us reviewing what we were going to say during that day, and she immediately says, no, we're not going to ask that, and then we essentially had to argue our stance on why we should ask it,
Okay.
And then it was ultimately that we didn't know, it was unknown.
I appreciate that. Mr. Shapley, you stated in public interviews that you and your team were stopped from taking certain investigative steps that you believe could have, potentially, connected this Hunter Biden case to President Biden. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, I just want to summarize as quickly as I can here. We have two credible, nonpartisan IRS investigators confirming that there are millions of dollars in foreign payments to shell companies to the Biden administration. We have Hunter Biden, who most of us wouldn't hire to dog sit, receiving these millions of dollars for services that they cannot come forward and tell us about, and that potentially this is linked to President Biden, but we don't know that for a fact because you were shut down. You were not allowed to pursue the investigative angle that you wanted to. This is something that we have to get to the bottom of. It's shameful what's happening, and I want folks to mark my words that we will not be stifled. This committee will not be stifled by the Department of Justice or anyone in the Biden administration. We are going to pursue this and get to the bottom of this no matter what. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Gomez for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I just want to be clear, whistleblower allegations should be taken seriously, period. I had a whistleblower approach my office during my first